You know what sucks? COVID-19. I hope that wasn't too much of a trick question for you guys. And at the same time, I'm sure that there were a million things that populated your mind inside of the, let's just call it the suckerverse. That's the multiverse for things that suck. Okay, all right. With all the vaccine and unvaccinated talks that have dominated our social sphere, I've actually found something that sucks way more than COVID-19. And I think we're going to agree that this is the number one thing that is standing on top of a podium, biting down on its gold medal from the Suck Olympics. That's the Olympics for things that suck. This thing that sucks more than COVID-19, more than 5-hour-long Baptist church services, and more than people who put sugar in their grits. This thing is hunger. During the pandemic, a good amount of the world got to experience what it was like for me growing up. A skinny, malnourished black boy who didn't always know where my next meal was going to come from, and neither did my mother. This malnourishment had me on edge all the time. I mean, it's hard to process basic emotions such as not feeling secure by loved ones and those who swore to serve and protect you. The disappointment of an absent father and the general lack of guidance from adults, period. Being lied to, and even worse, being denied through to basic opportunities. I would often find myself walking through streets frustrated with the entire world, but worst of all of this, on an empty stomach. Indeed, the world got an opportunity to walk a mile in my shoes, hungry due to the pandemic and failing food systems. We literally saw trucks that stopped delivering food. We saw farm workers working in the most horrible conditions without hero pay. And all of these mishaps would leave shelves, fridges, and stomachs empty alike. As a matter of fact, the world even got to feel a lot of the frustration that I was feeling. Because on May 25th, 2020, an event happened right along with COVID-19 that, how can I say this, made the feces hit the fan. This event was the murdering of George Floyd. Were y'all there? You couldn't have missed it. The rage of the world was on full display because of systems that were broken, leading to so much protesting and so much violence. We literally had stores ill-equipped to serve our people due to the virus, and some closing their doors completely. I remember driving down the street and seeing local grocery stores with their windows boarded up. Do y'all remember that? Do you know what you get when you have hungry people and angry people experiencing both emotions at the same time? You get hangry people. And we know a thing or two about being hangry, don't we? It can turn the nicest of people and have them spiraling down a rage of emotions that could have them wanting to devour whatever is in front of them, whether it be a person with vicious words and actions, or till they get their hands on a chicken salad sandwich. This is why I believe the riots and protests were so heightened this time. You had a criminal justice system that brutalized black bodies without consequences, in conjunction with a food system that left black communities at the mercy of government handouts. But you know what was glaringly obvious during this time? The fact that black people don't particularly own the food systems in which we participate in. This is why black-owned and operated food systems are so important. They're important because they literally go hand in hand with our fight for our civil liberties and livelihood. Even now, when I say black-owned and operated food systems, the term is unfamiliar to most of us. Why? Why is black-owned and operated food systems so foreign to us? Now, I'm not saying that black people are completely oblivious to black-owned and operated food systems. Nope, not saying that. As a matter of fact, I go on to say that black people are the kings and queens of the unconscious vying for our food system when it comes to prep and supply. You don't believe me? Okay. Get invited to a black cookout. And you will be approached with food system questions galore. Famous questions such as, who's on the grill? Yep, we want to know who's managing the meat, don't we? And ever since seeing Mayor Keisha Lance Bottom post her cooking, I'm going to need to know who cooked the mac and cheese. And this one right here, y'all, this one deals all about food security. Y'all all guilty. When you come about 2 hours late and you got to call your auntie to ask what? Can they save you a plate? But you know, here's a question that I'd again say that most people haven't made the connection to. What does George Floyd, Eric Garner, Trayvon Martin, and Mike Brown all have in common? Grocery stores. They were in front or coming from grocery stores. I hope I'm making a connection. Black-owned and operated food systems aren't just a matter of life and death, because we can't get the nutrient-rich foods that we need to survive and thrive, but they are also important as it relates to the relationships that we have with our local food outlets during distress times. You know, here's something that we know when it relates to history, that the Nile River was said to have proliferated human existence because of its ability to grow a stable agricultural setting. And we also know that America was built on free labor that happened where? On plantations and farms. And a lot of those Africans that they brought on the Amistad and other boats, those people were farmers to feed them. And they found that in us, in you. Now that I've given you a truncated version of world history around agriculture, allow me to talk about what's going on right now about an underlying tax that doesn't allow the produce that we consume to go to building up our civilizations and our communities. Have you ever heard of the Fight for 15? Well, this ain't about that. This is about an underlying tax that I've coined as the collared dollar, so I can paint a picture of this tax. Now, as you can see, I love me some collards. But before I eat them at your cookout, I'm going to ask. No, okay. Let's just say, for every $1, for one collard that you consume, how much of that is going back into the black community? To the black farmer? To the black trucker? To the black grocery store owner? Or the black GMs? Quick math. Let's just assume that the majority of the produce that you consume is coming from a white farmer, which isn't a far-fetched thought at all. Let's just say that this farmer is going to get the first 20 cents off of your collared dollar. And then those delicious collard greens are going to hop on the truck, go across state on a white-owned trucking company to the tune of 20 more cents. And then it's going to go to a franchise store that's founded by, you guessed it, more white people. And they're going to take 25 cents right off the carrot top of your $1 dollar. And then all the GMs are going to get their 20 cents. Now that's $1 for one collar in which 85 cents is going outside of your community. That fight for 15 that we go so hard for, I bet it hits differently now. Because we ain't talking about $15 to make sure that restaurant workers can have a livable wage. Nah. We're talking about 15 cents that has to be shared by every black collar worker in your community. So if 85 cents from every dollar is going to the people that govern your food, is that not a tax? I don't think I really introduced myself. I was born to a single mother. She had 4 kids that she raised with all that she had, and man, she made miracles every Thanksgiving. The only thing I remember about my father was a courtroom and a Kango hat. I'm a father now, and I promise to never do my son like that. Even during the pandemic, we would stand on corners and give out food to our local neighbors and pass out masks with them, but it had me wondering, why? Why wasn't my father present in my life? And then it hit me. The reason why a lot of African American men aren't in the families that they created is because of their inability to feed their family and the shame and regret that comes with it. You see, I've been working in urban agriculture for the last 10 years, working in my community to create food oasis. And I've engaged my community so much that the city of Atlanta tapped me to work on a federal grant to the tune of $30 million that would transform hoods that had projects in them to places with food oasis. Well, we got that grant. And we now have the largest black farm in our geographical confines over across the street in Asheville Heights. A part of that grant also was to have a grocer as well as a cooperative workspace so that we can have social entrepreneurs to continue this access. This community was no different from any community that you may have grown up in. We had high unemployment rates, lack of fresh food, and an abundance of drugs. I was raised in communities like this back on Cleveland Avenue where I had to walk towards school past corners with drug dealers every single day. And some 15 years later, when I was walking to Morehouse from Asheville, I would still pass by corners with drug dealers. And on those walks, I realized that everybody from the drug dealer to the police that's trying to arrest them is trying to feed their family. Can you blame a brother for trying to feed his family? Especially black folks, knowing that this entire food system was built off of our backs and has been exploiting us ever since. Dear old Morehouse. I actually remember in 2007, when I got here, they gave out a publication with all of the nice places to eat all around Atlanta. And none of those were in the black community. And like Michael Jordan, I took that personally. But I did something about it. I went and I revitalized a community garden in my community. And you too, you can help with gardening. You can be a part of black-owned and operated food systems. How, you may ask? You can do something so small, such as sowing a seed with a local food organization such as Everybody Eats, or you can donate 2 or 3 hours to your local garden. You can literally Grow food in your yard, and I would encourage you to do that with your neighbor. Plant different crops so y'all can socialize around y'all's harvest. My hopes is that this brings back the can I borrow a cup of sugar days that I miss so much. Back when your neighbor wouldn't allow you or your children to starve. But maybe you're a renter and you ain't got that type of space. You can consult your city government and see what land lots that they have so that they can revitalize those into urban gardens too. Or you can do the urban farming version of the crate challenge and create non-permanent structures that your persons, your landlords, can't particularly void your lease over. There should be plenty of crates scattered around your community right now. I'm proud of the work that's going on right outside the gates of Morehouse College. In Asheville Heights, we are literally on the cusp of creating the first Black-owned and operated food system, complete with a grocery store and a food court. Soon, God willing, you will have the ability to know who grew the collards and who cooked the macaroni and cheese. We should lift up Black-owned and operated food systems to the highest of our concerns. They should be discussed more than mayoral Mac. They should escape our cookout colloquialisms because Lord knows what'll happen if the world experiences another pandemic along with the killing of our people at the hands of a police. Not having access to our own food system is taking too much of our future out of our hands. So let's take our hands, gather up all of our seeds, plant and plan for a food system that will edify us now and forever. Thank you.